establish healthy boundaries as a young family with my kids, essentially, how do you say this right? How do you, I have young children, and when it comes to discipline, that's kind of a funky thing, and those boundaries between. I know you were really good at establishing those boundaries. What were some of your best practices for establishing boundaries as a father in our lives as a family?
In you guys' lives?
Mm-hmm. In our lives.
And people don't like hearing this, but your mom and I, neither one were child-centric.
Okay.
And so we understood that our role is to raise you, and you weren't our lives. And so we weren't as child-centric. And so not being as child-centric, I wasn't as concerned as much about what you thought about me.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Yeah, and so in fact, I, especially in your teenage years, I was very willing to be unpopular for a number of years because we determined this is how we're going to raise the family. And then I was the one, and you and Christina and Michael, unfortunately had two, not one, but two disciplinarians in the family.
Yes.
And so there was no weak link.
Right.
In other words, I wouldn't establish a boundary and then you guys, well, we'll go to mom.
Yeah.
Mom would back me up.
You guys were like together
the
whole, we're not child-centric.
Yeah, I think one day, especially as you got older, when you're younger, it's easier to establish boundaries with kids because they're much more willing to listen. But here's the thing, start young.
Yeah.
Don't walk in there when they're 14 and decide, we got brand new rules and you're gonna throw down some boundaries because it's gonna be a throwdown, trust me.
Yeah.
And so you start young. I think I told you guys one time, because y'all were just pushing, and you ever remember me telling you, hey look, here's the deal, because you were giving mom a hard time about something.
Yeah.
And I looked over at you and I said, I chose her, we had you.
No, I remember that very clearly, and that's actually, I was going to mention that because that was like a defining moment in my life.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of that realization that you're not child-centric, that the world, like your world did not revolve around me or my sister or my brother.
Right.
And I remember that moment. I remember you saying, look, like I chose your mother, like you just came.
Yeah, we had you.
Like
we had you. And here's another thing, and you will leave one day.
Yeah.
And I've got her. And so I wouldn't let the children come in between Joy and I's relationship.
Right.
And I think that's the first boundary that has to be protected.
Like you love her more than you love like me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was like one of those things that you would like, hey, I love your mom more than I love you. I love her first and you second.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was like and that was, at that time, of course, I think as a teenager, I'd be like, I don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't love me. But I think now looking back, I appreciate that because.
But you know what it actually does? It creates a sense of security that if one of the greatest things that you can give a child is in the home, is there a sense of security? And if they know that dad loves mom and mom loves dad, and those two are tight, they may complain about not getting everything they want, but it creates a real strong sense of things are going to be okay. I remember as a kid when my parents would argue. Now they stayed together, but when they argued, I remember it really unnerved me as a kid. And so having peace in the home and having that marital relationship good was extremely helpful.